Hello, welcome to another video of Code Snippet. And in this video, we are going to look into another important service inside AWS, that is EC2 or Elastic Compute Cloud. This one is very important and famous service provided by AWS. So it's very important to understand it as a developer. So let's get started without wasting any time. This is going to be a fun video, so sit back, relax and enjoy the show. Alright, so let's first look into agenda of this particular video. So EC2, that is Elastic Compute Cloud. And here is what we are going to look into. First, we will understand what exactly is EC2. After that, we will look into important EC2 concepts. For example, AMI, what is key pair, what is instant type, and what exactly is security group. Security group is very essential topic over here. And after that, we will see a quick demo where we launch AWS EC2 Instance, right? And we will see how we can connect to it. That is basically the quick agenda of this particular video. So let's get started. So let's see what exactly is EC2. Now if I go over here, so this is basically official documentation of AWS. So all the information I'm providing you is coming from this particular documentation. You can go ahead and check it out. I will put this particular link in description. So if you see over here, Elastic Compute Cloud, that is Amazon EC2, provides an on-demand scalable computing capacity in Amazon AWS Service Cloud. Now did you understand anything? I bet not. So let me just simplify it. So if I go over here, now let's read this out. So Amazon EC2 is a web service. Web service means hosted by AWS on web. That lets you launch, manage virtual servers. So it will let us launch virtual servers and they call it as instances. So each virtual server that you are going to launch, they will call it as instance, AWS EC2 instance in the AWS cloud. And it delivers secure on-demand scalable compute capacity. So you can add or remove servers within minutes and pay only for the resources you are actually using. Now let's dive deep into it. So if I go to canvas over here, again, Elastic Compute Cloud. Elastic, as the name suggests, that means it is scalable. You can scale it as much as you want. After that, compute means it will give you a processing power like your computer, right? So your computer is what? Computer is again a machine or again some kind of server which you are using locally, right? So think of EC2 instance as a separate computer which is running in AWS. After that, we have cloud. That means it will be running in AWS. That means AWS will maintain the infra. Now today, let's say when we have an application, so we have, let's say, a Spring Boot application running. Now let's say I want to host it, right? I want to host it so that anyone will be able to access it. My user should be able to access it, right? From some other location. What I will do, I will go ahead and deploy it on a server. Now this particular server, this is a physical server which actually have RAM, ROM, CPU and all those things, right? And it will have operating system as well so that you can go ahead and connect to it. What you will do, you will go ahead and put this application on this server and make it available over the internet, right? So that is something you can do. Now what is the problem over here? Here you need to maintain this particular infrastructure and you need to buy all these things and maintain it. Right? That is a problem basically. You cannot buy an entire server just because you want to host a website, right? It's not feasible. Well, it is feasible for companies who have their own product and they are earning too much from their product and they are hosting their product on their server. So few companies will have their actual servers hosted in different cities and they will be deploying their application on that particular server and they will maintain the server. They don't have any problem. But maintenance is going to be difficult again. And there are many problems over here. What if this guy goes down? If there is any electricity failure, then this will just go down, right? So what we can do, same server we can create inside AWS. And how we can create? The answer is EC2. If I scroll down now, then same application you can create inside EC2. And this will give you same virtual machine as the server. It will have operating system, it will have your RAM, it will have CPUs, it will have everything that you need, or it will have everything that your computer actually have. So it's a virtual computer hosted inside AWS. Now for us, it is a virtual machine, but for AWS, they will have actual infrastructure for it, this particular infrastructure, and they will maintain it for us. And for maintaining that, they will cost us some money. When you start your EC2, virtual machine, and they call it as instance, you will be able to deploy your application over there. Now let's come back over here. EC2 lets you launch and manage your virtual servers, right? Virtual servers, as we have seen, they call it as instances. So now on, when we say instances, it is nothing but a virtual server or a virtual machine in the AWS cloud, and it delivers secure on demand whenever you want to. You can create scalable if you want to scale it horizontally, vertically, no problem. And it is a compute capacity provided by AWS so that you can add or remove servers within minutes and pay only for the resources you actually use. If you don't want it, shut it down. Amazon will not charge you a penny. You will only pay for services which are actually up and running, right? You will only pay for EC2 instances which are up and running inside AWS environments. That also, by using free tier account, you will get free 750 hours of EC2 for 12 months. So that is basically your AWS EC2. So we have seen the EC2 definition. Now let's quickly go to AWS console. So I have logged in by using my root user. Let me zoom in a bit so that it's clearly visible to you. And now what we can do, we can just go over here and search for EC2. What I will do, I'll just click on this and there we go. We have Amazon EC2 and this is basically the dashboard. And if you see over here, we have Asia Pacific Mumbai availability zone. So we are in this particular zone only, and the instances that you are going to create will be in this particular zone only, and it will be accessible from anywhere, right? So here, if you see, they have a lot of information about EC2 and you can go ahead and launch your instance from here. Now, if you see over here, you have a lot of options. So first thing we have name, then we have AMI, then we have instance type, then we have key pair, network setting, and we have a lot of stuff, right? So all these things we are going to look into. So let's start one by one. So here, if you see important EC2 concept, so we are going to look into these one by one, right? Let me go back over here. And one thing I forgot to mention in last few videos, that you have different visual modes as well. So you can go ahead and click on this setting and you have dark mode as well. Now you can go ahead and select whatever you like. I personally like the dark one because bugs are attracted to light. Now let's go ahead and add some names. So here you can give the name to your instance. I will just say my first EC2 server. Sounds like a good name for our first EC2 server, right? So name we have given. Now next is AMI, that is Amazon Machine Image. Now the server that you usually have will have an operating system on it, right? Now here I am using this particular machine on which I am recording this video, where I am running this particular Mac OS, right? So it's basically a OS for me. It is a Linux based operating system. On this particular server, you can run any OS, right? You can run Windows, you can run Ubuntu, you can run Mac OS, you can run anything that you want. Now, when we say AMI, so if I go over here and let me again zoom it a bit, so you will see that they have something called as application and OS images, that is Amazon Machine Image. And AMI is a template that contains a software configuration. That means operating system, application server, and applications that is required to launch your instance. That means it is actually going to be your operating system which will be deployed to this particular virtual machine or AWS instance or AWS EC2 instance, so that you can connect to that particular EC2 instance and deploy your applications, right? Now, if I scroll down over here, then you will see that there are multiple options available. Amazon Linux is basically an operating system which they have their own. After that, we have Mac OS, Ubuntu, Windows, Red Hat. We have many options available over here. We can even search for more options over here. But the main thing that I would like to highlight over here is not all of them are free in free tier account, but Amazon Linux is free in your free tier account. If you scroll down over here and see over here, so free tier eligible. Now if I go over here and change this, then you will be able to see that instance type will be changed and you won't see that it is eligible for free tier. So that is basically a problem for free tier users. But if you are not a free tier user, feel free to pick whatever you want. You can quickly see it over here as well on the right hand side that it says it is a free tier eligible, but Mac one, let me select Mac one, it is not. Ubuntu is also free tier eligible. Let me go to Windows. Windows is also free tier eligible, right? So you can choose these two as well. Mac OS guys always charge money, so they are not giving it for free. Not a problem for us. We will go with Amazon Linux. Here you will be able to see the configuration, Amazon Machine Image. After that, we have description about this particular AMI, and you can select between these architecture as well. Let's go with 86 only. Here is the ID of that AMI. Here is a publication date, and here is a boot mode, right? It's a verified provider. They are only providing it. So let's use this particular AMI only. So AMI broader concept is basically you can relate it to your operating system. So let me just minimize it. We have selected this and we have selected the name. We have selected the OS. Next one is instance type. Now instance type is again a very important thing. So if you see over here, we have this particular instance type over here. So if you see over here, we have something called as T2 micro and we can select between many of them. If I scroll down over here, you have T2 micro, we have T2 nano, which is very small. After that, we have T2 micro. After that, what do we have? T2 small, T2 medium, T2 large, and there are many more, right? And these instance type are different for different use cases. So if you see over here, for T2 micro, what do we have? We get one CPU. One CPU means 1 GB CPU. And we will get 1 GB memory, that is basically the RAM. And here is basically the pricing detail of that. And if I click on this particular info, then they will take us to this particular Amazon EC2 instance types. So if you see over here, they have different type of instances. For example, they have Nitro based instances where they have this particular type of instances. After that, they have Zen based instances where for general purpose, they have this particular series. For example, T2 is the one that we are using over here. After that, they have compute based, memory based, storage optimized, accelerated computing. So based on your use case, you can use it. So if we come back over here and let me zoom it out a bit and let's quickly have a look at other instance type. So if you see over here, we have T2 nano. T2 nano means 0.5 GB memory. So here in the micro, we are getting 1 GB memory. Here we are getting 0.5 GB of memory, that is RAM. And if you see, the prices are significantly low. If I scroll down, you will have T2 small. That means 1 CPU, 2 GB memory. It will increase the price a bit. After that, you have medium, 4 GB memory. Here you will get 2 CPUs. That means 2 GB CPU, 4 GB memory. Then the prices will be increased. After that, T2 large. Then you have 2 CPU, 8 GB memory. Then extra large, you will have 4 CPU, 16 GB memory. Then it will have more prices. Then you have T2 2x large. That means 8 CPU, 32 GB memory. It's for large applications. Then you have T3 series, right? Again, this is a different series. Again, T3 nano, T3 micro, whatever you want, you can choose it. Then you have again C5 series. All the information related to this particular series are available over here in this particular document. So as we have seen, we have this different series, right? And each series have different purpose. For general purpose, use this series. For compute optimized, you want heavy computations, you are going to do AI and stuff, go ahead and use this one. For memory optimized, use this one. So they have different type of instances based on your requirement. So here we are going to use general purpose and we will say T2 micro, right? We don't want much over here. So let me go back and select T2 micro over here. Not a problem for us, and it is free tier eligible as well. So we are safe over here. Let's go to next one. Now the key pair. Now you can use key pair to securely connect to your instance. Once you have instance created, this particular EC2 instance, how you are going to connect to it. That means how I can actually go inside this particular computer. Now in order to log in inside this particular computer, we usually use something called as SSH. Now if you are a developer, you might have heard it already. So SSH is basically secured shell. It is a protocol used to securely connect to remote computer over a network. So if you have used virtual machines, then you might have used remote desktop connection inside Windows to connect to other machines. Or you might have used putty inside your Windows machine to connect to some other machine, right? Some other virtual machine. That is basically SSH. So you can go ahead and log in and perform whatever operations, Linux based commands you can do. Or if you have a Windows VM, then you can connect it by using remote desktop connections as well. In order to do that, what you need a secret keys, right? Because it's not open to everyone. You need something called as secret keys. So by using this particular key pairs, we will be able to log into that particular computer once created, right? What I will do, I will just say create a new key pair. Now, if you see over here, I will just give the name to this particular key. I will just say my first EC2. After that, you have key pair type. You can select anyone. This is basically encryption algorithm. You have RSA and ED25519 and you can go ahead and select private key file format. So you have a couple of format. So if you are going to use OpenSSH, And if you are going to connect by using putty from Windows, then select this one. So if you are making use of Mac OS, then go ahead with this one. Or if you are making use of Windows, go ahead with this one and download putty and you will be able to connect to it. So what I will do, I will create it in PEM format and I will just say create. So it will just be downloaded over here. So let it be downloaded. We will come back to it later when we actually connect to this particular EC2 instance once we create that. So there we go. We have seen key pairs as well. After that, we have something called as network settings. And in this network setting, you have something called as security groups. And this is very, very important. Now let's go back over here. So now we will look into security groups. Now let's say this particular house is my house. And this particular house have many doors, right? This is one door. Then you will have one door at the back, right? Many doors basically. What I will do to protect my house, I will hire a security guard and I will ask this guy to secure my house. That dude, there may be a lot of people who wants to enter my house. Don't let them enter until I know them. So what I will do, I will go to this guy and give him some rules. That someone who is coming, if that is my friend or family or someone who I know, then let them pass through front door. If someone who is coming, they are servant people, right? Who are going to do some job at my house like cleaning or stuff, then ask them to come through back door so that they can go to kitchen and do their stuff, right? A rule list I will provide to this particular security guard in order to enter my house through different doors. Similar to this example, now let's say you have your application. Now here in this case, your EC2 is basically your house. And your app is basically your application running on this particular EC2 instance. There should be some entry point of this particular application. Like in this house, we have doors, we have front door, we have back door. So in order to connect to any application, be it your Spring Boot application or any other application, you need to have an entry point which we call as ports. So usually we give server.port on Spring Boot application, right? Or any other application we deploy on 8080 port in our local application, which is the port of HTTP. So that is basically entry point of this particular Spring Boot application. Now we just discussed about this particular SSH so that we can connect to this particular EC2 instance. So for SSH also we need a door, that is port number 22. So for SSH we have port number 22. Let me just write it over here. So for SSH we have 22 port and for HTTP we have 8080 port. Now these are two doors for my EC2, right? EC2 service. So I can connect to EC2 by using SSH or I can connect to my application by using this particular port. Now this is my house, this particular house. These are two doors. Who is going to be my security guard? Our security group is going to be my security guard. It basically acts as a firewall. So it's a firewall in front of my EC2. Security group is basically a group of rule which is acting as a firewall for your service. Now this particular security group will have rules. So we gave rules to this particular guy, right? That dude, these are the rules. So same rules we will give to this particular security group. Someone who is coming, if it is coming on this particular port, then allow him. Otherwise, someone who is coming, if it is coming on this particular port, allow him. Or you can give many other rules as well. So those rules we can configure inside your security group. So let's go back over here. So if you see over here, so we have this particular network setting. Now if you see over here, we have this particular firewall or security groups. So here you can select existing security group or you can create one. We don't have any existing security group, so let's create. Now we will create a new security group called Launch Wizard 1 with following rules. So they are giving the name as well. That is pretty good. So first we have allow SSH traffic. Allow SSH traffic means we need to allow SSH. So if we go back over here, we want to allow SSH on port 22, right? So what I will do, I will say allow SSH. After that, what we want to do, we want to allow HTTP, let's say. What I will do, I'll click on this one. So it will allow HTTP. After that, who can access, right? For example, here we told this particular security guy that only my friends and family should be able to access and my workers should be able to access. If you want specific people to be able to access, then you can give custom IP. or you can give my IP address. So this is basically my IP address, so only I'll be able to access. But if I say anywhere, that means anyone can SSH to this machine, or anyone can hit the URLs of this particular EC2 instance, right? So let's keep it public for now. And it is giving us some warning as well that, dude, you are allowing all the IP addresses to access your instance. We recommend setting security groups rules to allow access from known IP addresses only, right? So you can allow known IP addresses as well, but for now let's keep it from anywhere, right? So it's not a big problem for us. So that is basically your network, and that is basically your security group. And these particular security groups you can go and check out in AWS dashboard as well. So let me just duplicate this particular tab and let's go to AWS EC2. If you see over here, it should be here somewhere. So here, if you see over here, we have this particular security group. So similar to this one, our other guy will be created. And if I go inside this particular security group, then you will see you have outbound rules, you have inbound rules. That means inbound means who will be able to call your application. Outbound means the requests which are going outside your application. So all those things are given over here. So this is basically the existing one. We will see ours when it is created once we launch our instance. Now once we are done with networks, then we have configure storage. How much storage we want inside our application. So this is basically ROM now. So RAM we have seen already over here when we selected instance type. So this is basically RAM. Now this is basically ROM. So it is basically your hard disk or SSD, right? Solid state drive. So I'm going to keep 8 GB itself. And here if you see over here, we have general purpose SSD, right? So 8 GB SSD, I'll keep it as same only. And once we are done with that, what we have is we have advanced details. If I expand this, then you have a lot of details over here. And the important detail that I want to highlight over here is that you can run any script that you want to run while creating your EC2 instance. For example, let's say I want to download and install any library, then I can just add it over here and this guy will do it for us. You can upload the file as well. So if you have any shell script, you can upload it over here. For now, what we will do, we will just add a simple shell script over here. So I will just go ahead and paste it over here. We are just updating the packages by using this command. Then we are installing HTTPD over here. So it's basically Apache web server. After that, what we will do, we will just start that web server and we will enable HTTP on that particular web server. After that, what we are doing, we are just creating a simple HTTP page. So it's a index.html page and we are putting it at this particular directory. Why we are doing that? Once we create our EC2 instance, this particular index.html will be hosted on this particular Apache server and we will be able to see this particular page. So just for hosting a temporary page on this particular EC2 instance, we are adding this. So that is basically one option that you have on your EC2 instance in an advanced setting. So what I will do, I will just minimize this and I will zoom out a bit. If you see over here again, in the right side, you will get summary of what you are going to create. So here, if you see, you are creating one instance with Amazon Linux and you have T2 micro. After that, we have created a new security group. We have one volume of 8 GB. All the details this guy is giving us. And we have a launch instance button just behind me. So let me just zoom it again so that it goes at the bottom part. And here again, it's behind me. So what I will do, I'll just minimize this window so that you guys can see it. If you see over here, we have launch instance. So once I create that, it is launching an instance for us. And it is already launched. It says success. Now here, if I go to EC2 dashboard, then you will be able to see that we have one instance running. That is my first EC2 server. And I can just go over here inside it. And if you see over here, we have this particular server running. And here you will find something called as public IP address. What you can do, you can just copy it, go to your browser and paste it. Now, did you see what happened? Now, this is basically the static HTML page that we are able to load, right? By using this particular API. What exactly is happening? The script that we added while we were creating a EC2 instance is for this purpose only. This particular HTML page is basically rendering on this particular browser. So it is basically static HTTP page hosted on Apache server, which is running on EC2 instance. And here, if you see, you will have many details over here. For example, here you have public DNS as well, this particular DNS as well, public DNS, and again it will do same job, and you will have multiple details over here as well. And now if we go to our security groups, then you will see a security group is created. If you see over here in this particular security group, you will have a couple of rules. So one we have inbound rule, which is for port 80, right? So HTTP port, which is again we can relate it to the door of our application, and other is basically SSH, which is 22. So this is same thing that we have seen over here, 22 and 8080, which is HTTP port. So we are able to access our application by using this particular inbound rules of our application, which we have defined in our security group. So if in case I go ahead and delete this particular rule, I can say edit inbound rules, go ahead and delete this particular rule, which is basically HTTP rule, and I will say delete. So once we have saved it, now we will only have one rule over here. Now if I try to reload this particular application, is loading for a while, it may not completely load. Probably I will just go to incognito window and paste it over here. You'll be able to see it's not able to load basically, because we have removed that particular rule, this particular rule from this particular security group. So that is why it's not able to access. Now what we can do, we can again add one more rule. I will just say add rule. Over here I will say HTTP rule, and I will say anywhere from IPv4, and I will save it again. And now as I have saved it, you will see that it got refreshed, and here also let me try to reload it. So as you can see, it is running over here as well. So it's all about your security group, because it's a security guard of your application. Now let's go to our instance back. Let's go to dashboard, let's go to instances, and let's go to for this particular instance, which is running over here. And here what we can do now, how we can connect it from here as well. So you can connect on browser itself. This is basically the username, and you can just say connect, and you will be able to connect to it. So there we go. So we are able to connect to this particular Amazon Linux. Here if you see, we will have something called as var folder, and here in the var folder you will have multiple things over here. So if I go to www, then you will see that we have added that particular index file, right? So in the HTML folder we should have a index, we say ls, and you will see that we have this particular index.html file. This is basically your Amazon Linux machine where we are logged into. And if I open this particular index.html, then you will be able to see that we have this particular file over here, that my first AWS page is the title and your Amazon EC2. And if you edit something over here, it will ultimately get edited inside this particular output over here that we are seeing. Now here what we are doing, we are connecting to our EC2 instance by using this particular option over here, which is provided by AWS EC2 only. But if I go inside it, and if you see over here, we have something called as SSH client. So by using SSH client as well, you can connect to this particular server or this particular EC2 instance. How we can do that? Now, if you remember, we have downloaded this particular key, right? This PEM file. Now we have all the steps over here. It is saying open SSH client, open your private key file, and run this particular commands. So what we will do, let me just open a terminal. So I will just say terminal, let me open it. Let me bring it over here. Now let me zoom it so that it's clearly visible, and I will go to the path where we have that particular file. So it should be in downloads. So it should be in downloads basically. So I went to download, and what I will do, I'll just copy this command, chmod command, and paste it over here. And that's done. So it's basically changing the permissions of that particular file. And I will go back over here. I will copy this particular command. So the command is by using ssh-i, then the name of your key file, after that the user @ and this particular DNS. So what I will do, I'll copy this, I will paste this thing now, and I will say connect. Then are you sure you want to connect? Yes, I want to connect. And there we go. We have connected to this particular EC2 machine by using SSH as well. Pretty simple stuff, right? It is very, very simple, and it is even simpler if you are using Mac or any Linux machine. And again, if I see over here, we can go to var now, and inside that we will again have a similar stuff. So if you see over here, we again have www folder, and we have this particular HTML folder. Again, in that particular HTML folder, we will have index.html, and I can say cat index.html, and it will show the same file that we have created. So this is basically the Linux virtual machine that I'm connecting to on AWS. Pretty simple stuff, nothing complex. So that is basically how you can connect by using your terminal inside your Mac OS by using these steps. In case if you have Windows machine, you can make use of something called as putty, right? So you can download this particular putty. By using this putty, you can SSH to this particular application. But remember, when we created our EC2 instance, you need to select that particular option. Instead of PEM file, you can download the other file that is supported by putty, right? And that's it. So let me close this. And if I go back over here to EC2 and let's go to our running instance. If you see, if I change the availability zone, let's say to Virginia now, and if I go back to EC2, then you will see that, oh, I don't have any instance running. You may think like you don't have any instance. If I go to dashboard, you will see there are 0 instances running. Inside dashboard also, you will see that there are 0 instances. And you may think that there is no instance and everything is good, which is the problem because you have an instance running in this particular Mumbai availability zone. If I go back, you will see that you have this particular instance. So I will recommend you go ahead and use this EC2 global view. So if I click on this particular tab, it will take you to global view. So here in this global view, you will be able to see what exactly is running and what not. So here, if you see instances, you will see that 2 in 1 region is running. That means something is running, dude. You need to go ahead and delete that. So what I need to do, I will go back over here. I will go to instances and this particular instance is running. What I will do, I will go inside it and I want to delete it now. So what I can do, I can just say instance state and I can say stop running. That means I can restart it back later, or I can reboot as well, or I can delete the instance as well. So I will go ahead and delete it now because we don't need it anymore. So I will just go ahead and delete. So it should be deleted by now. So if I refresh the state, then if you see over here, it is saying that it's shutting down. And now if you see over here, the status is terminated. That means it is terminated and you won't be charged anymore. And if I go back to instances, now you will see that we have 0 instances running in the Mumbai Asia Pacific region. So it's not a problem anymore. And now let's go back over here. Let's go to our document, and here we have seen EC2, we have seen AMI, key pair, instance type, security groups, everything we have seen, and we have seen the demo as well. We have launched the EC2 instance and we have connected it by using SSH. Now what do we want? We want to run our Spring Boot application on EC2. How we can do that? That is something we will look into the next video. Now as we understand what exactly is EC2, how we can create it, now we will see how we can run our Spring Boot application inside this particular EC2 instance. Well, the next one is going to be fun video again. So if you don't want to miss that, subscribe to Code Snippet right now. I hope you enjoyed this video and have a clear understanding of EC2 now. If you like the video, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to Code Snippet. Share this video with your friends so that they also have idea about EC2. That's it for this video. See you in the next video.